Really want to acknowledge what a great day we had today. The agenda was just chock full. Great background, great future ahead. Tomorrow we're going to dive into some of the policies and regulatory issues, a little bit more on funding. So it's going to be another packed agenda for the day. But certainly want to thank the university for sponsoring this and for the other entities that have provided support to make this happen. And I'm really looking forward to the next day and a half. Our sponsors on here as well. Sea Alaska is tonight's reception sponsor, and the chairman of the board is here with us. I'd like to invite Mr. Nelson to come up and say a few words. I just so appreciate Sea Alaska. It's amazing to see just the reality that exists there. Wildly successful on so many different fronts internationally, but yet their taproot to home, land, and people is just heartening and inspiring. So please welcome Mr. Joe Nelson.
Thank you, Robert. Well, I accepted this a couple days ago, and it was the call I had was a brief intro or a brief welcome, but then I saw on the agenda wrap up, and I was like, so I'm glad you're here to capture the wrap up, because I'm one of those dads who wraps. I actually just use newspaper and a magic marker when I wrap my presents. I don't really bother with the bow tie and all that.
Music wrap.
Music wrap. Okay, no, it's just a simple newspaper when I wrap things up. But I have been here for about 2/3 of the day. I did miss portions of it, and I want to thank all of you. One of the comments when I first came in this morning was all the talk. Let's get beyond the talk. So, one of the presenters said something that when you think of conferences, you think of lots of talking and lots of note taking and lots of sitting. But this here really is a big deal. There's huge opportunity as the Build Back Better proposal that is moving here and hopefully gets funded really is proving out. We being the big we, Southeast, actually have two bites at that one with another Build Back Better that's moving through Spruce Root, and that's in forest products. And for little Southeast Alaska to be the only competitor in Alaska in that whole pool, out of that bigger pool, having two proposals in there, it's a cool thing, but it really should hit home the point that there is a big need. There's a big need in Southeast Alaska. There's a big need in Alaska in general, but obviously there's a need here. There's a lot of work that's needed as we are trying to get out of extractive industries a little bit and be a little more thoughtful. And as I was thinking about it, a little bit of a wrap up, I was thinking 18 months ago, we were deep in this pandemic. And my daughter is middle school age, moving into high school, and having an argument at the table there about homework when we're all 100% Zoom and distance. And she's like, "Dad, don't worry about it." I was like, "Okay, well, why shouldn't I worry about it? Why shouldn't I worry about you be doing your homework?" And our students are struggling, in the pandemic and just in middle school. That is the years you need to bond and be connected. And she's like, her response was immediate. And I thought of that right now because she went to pick up her younger brother right now from elementary school. And she said, but back then, 18 months ago, she said, "Don't worry about it, Dad. Worst case scenario, I'm going to get my GED and I'm going to start my own business. That's worst case scenario, Dad." And I'm like, okay, I actually, she's right, because she's already a salesperson and does a lot of work on her own. She's an innovator. She's a hard worker, and when she's committed to school, she's got straight A's. When she's a go-getter. I had no doubt that that's the worst case scenario, is that she'll get her GED and start a business. But on another path, she might end up getting a PhD because she's just driven that way. And that's what I'm thinking of this conference and this kind of thing with the mix of small business, big business, research, policymakers, all these things that don't often always converge. And people get their frustrations because they don't converge, and we need to converge right now, and that's what these big proposals are helping prove out, is that we've been coming together for a while. folks identify needs, thanks to the, our folks in Maine and Ireland for their contributing here. Sure, they've got coastline, 3,000 miles of coastline is great. We happen to have 33,000 miles of coastline in Alaska. That is really a resource that we need to step up and own it. And as Native people, we've been doing that for 10,000 years. So there's a lot of common sense to that. And as far as the big businesses, I think they're pretty well aware that they've destroyed the planet. So they're trying to pivot a little bit on how they operate. And so I think there's nothing but opportunity right in front of us right now. So I won't stand between, the tap back there really any longer than I need to. And I want to thank all of you for leaning into the effort, and hopefully you're taking something meaningful out of this, that we're able to all put action behind it, because we're hearing new things here. The policymakers aren't that great at getting things really done, as we see at the national or state level quite a bit the last couple of years. But when folks like you come together and actually line up and put pen to paper and pick up the phones and say, this is what we need to do, they're going to follow. Those policymakers are the lagging thing. They're not leaders. They lag and follow behind the push. And we heard about the push and pull. So I'm hoping we're able to do some pushing and pulling after this, and just excited to do our small part here. So, Chish, welcome, and have a safe evening tonight, and we'll see everybody tomorrow morning.
Thank you.